And the key question to ask yourself is, do you believe that Tesla or any company can create a form of intelligence in a humanoid form that can add useful labor, not just physical labor, but also intellectual labor? And if so, at some point, surely then it can get to human level and then greater than human level. What happens then? I mean, we've seen what humans have been able to do so far, and we aren't exactly the peak pinnacle of intelligence, at least in terms of what's possible.
Right.
So, we have meat computers, right? We're pretty slow and clunky relative to what's possible. So you think about that, and the sky's maybe not even the limit. And this is why I think it's very important for investors to at least think about the future, the distant future, and what are the possible outcomes, as opposed to just going, oh, that's ridiculous, I'm not even going to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, the Chome from Frank Herbert's Dune series is not unreasonable at some point. Whether that's Tesla or not, I don't know, but I like the funding secured glass. That's great. Good mug. But it is kind of hard to imagine the kind of scale we could be talking about. So when you say 10x, we've got 8 billion humans on the planet right now. Are you talking about 80 billion robots before we need to start getting them off the planet?
Yeah, I don't think that's probably the upper limit, but just as a really sort of lowball point of reference, I can easily see a 10x in terms of humanoid robots slash people. So call it 100 billion, just round up.
Yeah.
I don't see really any major issues there. Most people today do it looks a 40-hour work week,
Right.
Let's just round really simply. Roughly half the people on Earth are contributing labor in some form or another. There's a lot of kids, there's retirees, but just roughly half. There's huge capacity to get more done. If, for example, Tesla had today 100 million humanoid robots, they would already have an $18,000 electric vehicle. That was because they would have scaled to a point they'd be producing them fast enough and cheap enough. And suddenly they'd be replacing those 2 billion vehicles on roads in a matter of years, as opposed to over a few decades. So there's a huge acceleration of projects that humanity could be working on and is working on that could take place a lot faster if we had more labor. And every time we have a huge breakthrough with technology that makes us more efficient, suddenly we find new ways to use that labor. If you had to explain to somebody, 80 years ago what the internet would do, they would have laughed and go, what are you talking about, right?
Right.
None of this would have seemed possible. And the huge economic implications that we've had, I think that humanoid robots are going to be like that, but, multiplied by many orders of magnitude in terms of the impact.